We are placing a lien on this property. The sale cannot proceed until these violations are cured and all fines are paid in full.
The cold air punched me in the face when I opened my front door and saw my porch covered in neon tags. It was 6:12 a.m., my coffee still too hot to drink, steam hitting my nose while I stared. The HOA president, the one everyone secretly calls Karen, stood at the bottom of my steps with 2 board members and a clipboard. Their little golf cart idled at the curb, hazard lights flashing orange against the wet asphalt. She slapped one last bright tag on my railing and chirped, "Another violation, that makes 15. My brain did this slow, confused rewind while the cold bit my bare toes. All I could think was, how do you even find 15 things wrong with one porch? That morning is why I now tell people, HOA stormed my porch with 15 violation tags, then I pulled the escrow file. Every tag had some tiny rule printed in small, smug letters. Grass height. Trash cans visible from the street. Holiday lights still hanging from January. A hairline crack in the driveway. They stacked fines like poker chips, nearly $1,300 if I did not correct immediately. I tried to stay calm. I asked to see where, exactly, these rules were in the documents I signed when I bought the house. Karen just smiled that tight little smile and said, "You agreed to abide by all HOA regulations. The board will not debate this." Across the street, my neighbor closed his blinds so fast the slats rattled. I went to the next board meeting anyway. It was on May 3, 2024, at 7:00 p.m. in the stuffy clubhouse that always smells like burned coffee and old carpet. When I spoke, Karen stared at her phone. Another board member flipped through a manila folder like I did not exist. I pointed out that other houses had the same trash cans, the same leftover lights, worse cracks in the driveway. Nobody met my eyes. One guy cleared his throat and said, "If you don't like the rules, you can move." That was when something inside me snapped, but in a very calm way. I walked out telling myself, "Fine, you want to play paperwork games, we will play paperwork games." I promised myself I would use proper channels only, but I would use every single one. I started with my own little war room at the kitchen table. I lined up photos, emails, and call logs in a binder. I labeled things like I was my own detective. Timeline item 1 April 5 at 4:27 a.m. false trespass call, when Karen had told security my brother was lurking while he carried in my couch. Timeline item 2 May 1 at 9:00 p.m. complaint about my porch light being too bright even though hers looks like a lighthouse. As I read through the HOA handbook, something felt off. There were rules in the violation tags that were not in my copy. A late-night Google search taught me one key fact: in my state, HOA rules cannot contradict the recorded covenants. If new rules are not properly recorded, they do not exist. That was my line in the sand. So I went where they never expected me to go, public records. I showed up at the county office with my binder under my arm and nerves buzzing. The clerk typed my subdivision name, clicked around, then handed me a thick stack. The file landed with 63 pages. My escrow documents. The original covenants. Amendments that were actually recorded. Budget reports. Old meeting notices. I sat at a side table and read everything, my heart beating harder with each page. Half the rules on my violation tags had never been properly filed. Some amendments they loved to quote had expired. The budget pages showed thousands of dollars labeled administrative reimbursements with no explanation, all approved while Karen was president. Another article online said it plain: patterns of false reports can be prosecuted. So now I had bogus rules and a pattern of bogus complaints. The next board meeting did not go the way Karen planned. Word had spread, and more neighbors showed up than usual. A couple of them stood in the back with their phones out, already recording. I let Karen run through her usual routine, her script about community standards, then I calmly asked for the floor. I laid my binder on the table and slid copies of the recorded covenants to each board member. I walked them, slowly, through my labeled timeline, reading out dates and times. Then I pointed to each of my 15 violations and read the matching sections from the actual recorded documents. This rule you cited? Never recorded. This amendment you love? Expired 5 years ago. The room got very quiet. Someone in the back actually snorted when I held up a photo of Karen's own backyard shed, which violated the exact setback rule she tried to nail me with. A neighbor whispered, "Oh, this is going on TikTok." The humiliation didn't stop at that clubhouse table. A week later, a city code inspector showed up, not for me, but for the HOA. Somebody had forwarded the binder and the video. He asked to see their office records, their enforcement logs, their budget. Another letter came from the state's HOA ombudsman, ordering the board to void all improper violations, including my 15 tags, and to hold a new election because they had skipped required notices. The inspector cited the HOA for their own unpermitted sign out front and improper use of funds. Karen's reimbursement checks? Flagged for review. She stepped down as president for personal reasons before the vote even happened. My fines were erased in writing, and they had to send a notice to the whole neighborhood admitting errors in enforcement. After that, the street felt different. No more mystery complaints about porch lights or trash cans. People started saying hi again instead of hiding behind blinds. The new board president, a quiet guy from 2 houses down, knocked on my door with a simple peace offering, a coffee in a to-go cup and a promise to stick to the actual covenants. The neon tags on my porch came down, and for the first time, it felt like my home again, not her kingdom. I didn't get rich, and I didn't need revenge fireworks. I got something better, proof that knowing the rules beats fake power every time. Please follow for more HOA showdowns like this. Do you think she got what she deserves? Comment below.